Hi guys, in this video we will be discussing feudalism in Europe. Today we are going to identify major causes and effects of the formation of medieval Europe. We will describe the major characteristics of and factors contributing to the development of feudalism and manorialism, and we will also identify the impact of political and legal ideas that are contained in the Magna Carta. By the time that you are done, you will explain the development of medieval Europe and also describe the characteristics of feudalism and manorialism by completing a web quest. Okay, so remember when we talked about the Western Roman Empire collapsing, we mentioned that there were a lot of invasions from the north that were moving into the Western Roman Empire. The Goths, the Vandals, the Lombards, the Burgundians, and the Franks all lived beyond Rome's frontiers, but they were being pushed into Europe by the Huns, who were another aggressive group that came from Central Asia. And so these Germanic tribes all moved into Western Europe, and eventually they created the countries that would become the modern countries of Europe, like England, Spain, Italy, and Gaul. The Angles and the Saxons settled in England, in this area here. In Spain you have the Visigoths, in Italy the Lombards, and in Gaul, which would eventually become France, we have the Franks. So the Franks were ruled by a man named Charles Martel. He's going to unite all of the Frankish people and create the largest kingdom in Europe. His grandson inherits the kingdom, and what he does is give land to nobles in exchange for their loyalty and for their military service. And this begins the practice of feudalism. Eventually, Charlemagne will be crowned Emperor of the Holy Land. When Charlemagne died, his empire was divided among his sons, and the new rulers began to fight for power and control of the entire kingdom. And as they did that, the nobility grew stronger and stronger by taking control of a lot of land. On top of that, you have a wave of Viking invasions that plague Europe. The Vikings are moving into the area. They're sacking villages and destroying churches. Their ships allow them to sail up the rivers because they're narrow and long, and that allows them to get further inland. And in order to appease them and stop the Viking invasions, the Frankish rulers are going to give Vikings land in what is now Normandy, so some of the Viking people settle in that area. So the royal governments are no longer able to defend people from these barbaric invasions, and it's really dangerous. It's a really dangerous time in Europe. So a new system of government is going to form, and this political and social structure is called feudalism, and it's going to exist in Europe for a few hundred years. Okay. During this time, lords take care of vassals in exchange for service. So the people with money and land are going to take care of the people who don't have money and land, and in exchange for being taken care of, these people are going to serve them in a military capacity or maybe in some other capacity like labor, right? Knights developed during this time, and they are the professional soldiers. They're members of a heavily armored cavalry. This is a knight here. The armor that the horse and the soldier wear is very expensive, and it's also very time consuming to train to be a knight. So lords are going to give knights land in exchange for their service, and those grants of land are called fiefs. So the manorial system develops within feudalism. A manor is a large agricultural estate, like you see pictured here. And everything that people need is available inside of the manor. The manor is protected by walls, and everything that they need, like I mentioned, is here. So all of their farms are here, workshops to produce goods in. They have a water mill, they have a church, they have little shops. Everything that they need is inside the manor, and This is because you don't want to travel outside of your manor. It's dangerous out there, and so you're safest if you stay inside of the walls. So this system is called manorialism. That's the economic system of the Middle Ages. Under manorialism, serfs work the land. Serfs are your farmers, and they also pay rent with their crops. Serfs are not free people. They belong to their lords because they give up their rights in exchange for protection. So lords tell them what to do. This is the pyramid of power that came out of the feudal system. At the top you have the king, and the king gives land to the nobles, right? These are your dukes, your princes, and they're the ones who have money or an important last name, right? The nobles take that land and divide it further and give it to knights in exchange for protection. So this is called a fief. That's a grant of land. The knights take that land and they are going to distribute some of that or allow peasants to live on it in exchange for protection as well. So this is what everybody gives everyone else, right? So the king gives land to the nobles give land to the knights, and the knights give land to the peasants or allow the peasants to live on their land. The peasants are going to give food and services to the knights. The knights will give military protection and services to the nobles, and the nobles also give money and some of their knights to the king for protection. And so this is how the social system worked, and also the political system of the time. All right, that brings us to the end of the lecture. If you guys have any questions, make sure you jot them down, and I will see you in class. Thanks for watching.